Roll the clock back to 2020. E3 is cancelled and we have a summer full of mediocre game reveal events where things were just not that interesting and everything felt incredibly drawn out. But there's a standout reveal that stole the summer, at least for me. Obsidian revealed Avowed. The company was finally back to making AAA open world RPGs, and now with the Microsoft money behind them, this had serious potential. It even almost looked like it could be a real competitor to the Elder Scrolls. And despite that incredible reveal really stealing the summer for many RPG fans, we've actually heard very little since. With the last time they talked about Avowed, they described how they'd be showing off what they've been working on soon. But that was over a year ago now, and in this video I'm going to break down what has actually been going on with Avowed, and really just the summation of what we know thus far, as a lot of this does come from leaks and other rumors around the industry, with a lot of this actually being from more reputable sources, not just some random images on 4chan. So at this point, Obsidian's technically talked about Avowed publicly on two separate occasions. During the summer of 2020, when we actually got that official reveal trailer, which was epic. But then a year later at E3 2021, where many people thought, okay, we're going to see more Avowed. It's been a year since they've said anything. We actually didn't see more Avowed. Instead, they revealed yet another AAA RPG with The Outer Worlds 2, which felt incredibly odd and kind of surprising. But following the reveal of The Outer Worlds 2, Obsidian did give us a bit of an update. For those who are wondering about Avowed, the team is hard at work making something we're sure fans of our games and the Pillars of Eternity universe are going to love. While we are not showing anything right now, we're looking forward to showing off what we have been working on soon. That soon came and went, and we haven't actually seen anything since then. It's been over a year since they made that statement, but we have heard quite a bit from insiders. Jez Corden of Windows Central saw leaked gameplay in late 2021, the gameplay itself being from around the summer of 2021. Jez Corden described how the leaked gameplay looked really good. A bit later in this video, we'll go over what exactly he saw, but based on what he had seen, he described how he thought the game could come in early 2023, which was an incredibly exciting prediction. He actually made that just earlier this year, but with that prediction, he also expected it to be at E3 2022 in a playable state, and obviously that didn't happen. And it seems like this was largely a prediction based on how good the gameplay he saw 6 months earlier had looked. It wasn't actually a timetable leak from Obsidian, but rather he saw a leaked gameplay. He was like, wow, this looks great. I could see this coming out in early 2023 with how good this looks. But obviously that 2023 date did get a lot of attention as a result of his statements. Also in 2021, we hear from Chris Avellone how reportedly Obsidian keeps losing leads on Avowed, which is not a good sign. This is a weird one where Chris Avellone did work at Obsidian and he was the director of many of the New Vegas DLCs, but has since left the company and actually had some pretty serious allegations around him. So it's honestly kind of hard to tell if he knows anything or not, and later on Jez Corden also came out and said that what Chris Avellone is saying isn't actually true. But somebody who definitely knows something is Jason Schreier, and he throws his hat in the mix earlier in 2022, just before the Xbox Summer Showcase. He describes how Avowed received a big reboot at the end of 2020 or the start of 2021, as a bunch of directors were moved or replaced on the project, clarifying further how Avowed has gone through multiple reboots and lost or replaced several directors and leads last year. As I said on Twitter, that's why I don't expect it to be out anytime in the near future. I did not say the game is going through development hell and will never come out, but it certainly had some real issues. And Jason Schreier overall seems to think Avowed is more likely to come out in 2024 than 2023, at least based on the implications of this post. But it's also not like he's actually making a concrete or official prediction here. And even just a few months ago, officially, we did see one of the narrative leads on the project leave. So what does this all mean? Well, it seems pretty clear that the reason we haven't seen much of Avowed is the game is definitely having some issues. Now, how big those issues are isn't totally clear. It doesn't seem like the game is doomed, and if anything, it may be getting more time in the oven to resolve all of these problems, which honestly could be a good thing. I feel like time and time again, we hear from these game companies how there's some internal issues, the directors are leaving, but then the greater company still wanted to get that game out, or still had them doing gameplay showcases at each E3, which only hindered progress further. So the fact that Avowed may be having development problems, but is actually kind of going silent to resolve those could be really good. That could actually be exactly what you hope happens. There's also this report about an apparent miscommunication between Microsoft and Obsidian on Avowed. Jeff Grubb did report how apparently around E3 2021. Microsoft asked Obsidian for a trailer on The Outer Worlds 2, despite that game actually being a far ways out. So Obsidian made that trailer for The Outer Worlds 2, and if you remember, it was very high level, honestly a very funny and good trailer for a game that's still many years away. But it seems like this was actually a mistake or miscommunication on Microsoft's part, and what they actually meant was a trailer on Avowed. So then reportedly, according to Jeff Grubb, Microsoft went back to Obsidian, was confused why they were getting a trailer for The Outer Worlds 2 and not Avowed, even though that's what they accidentally asked for. And this could actually explain that rather bizarre message we got after the reveal of The Outer Worlds 2 from Obsidian, where apparently they would have more to show soon. Maybe they actually had wanted to show something, but this miscommunication or this odd handling of things led to these issues. But beyond just the release date, as far as it goes for Avowed overall, we know the game is taking place in the world of Aora, this being in the Pillars of Eternity universe, and seemingly Avowed will be on Unreal Engine 5. We always knew it would be an Unreal Engine game, but from some more recent LinkedIn postings, we could see how apparently they are working on Unreal Engine 5 now, which is honestly pretty exciting. Depending on the release date of this, it could be one of the first real AAA RPGs to come out on Unreal Engine 5, but then we also get into the plethora of leaks that have occurred around this game from all kinds of different sources. And oddly enough, I feel like when it comes to Avowed, a lot of these leaks are from reputable sources. They're not just your one-off 4chan leaks, but actual people in the industry who regularly leak things and have track records. One of the pretty odd potential leaks was these armors and character art. These went up on ArtStation a few months before Avowed had its initial trailer early in 2020, and they're simply listed as characters and armors for a Unreal Engine 4 game project, which although yes, Avowed is on Unreal Engine 5 now, at the time it seemingly was on UE4, and the person who posted these even worked at Obsidian. So now you would assume that an NDA would prevent somebody from actually sharing these, but seemingly it is for some kind of unreleased game. This person worked at Obsidian, and of course, looking at these armors and design, it looks like it would fit in this universe. So we don't really know if these are legit or not, but it's this kind of odd situation where oftentimes these images are heavily associated with Avowed, and it could actually be one of the first real leaks we had in the game, and it came even before the official trailer and announcement of the game. In a very similar vein, on the current Avowed art director's ArtStation, we see this ogre. It's described as an ogre prototype, but we don't really know what game it's for, at least as of right now, but this could be another early look at Avowed. The first major leak as far as details on the game came in 2020. This is from Sponger, posted on Reset Era, and this leak was also backed up by other insiders like Clobriel. And here it's described how Avowed would reportedly have an open world larger than Skyrim. This not necessarily due to its sheer landmass, but rather it's going to be a more dense world overall. The game is reportedly set in the Living Lands region of Aora, which this was posted in the summer of 2020, and reportedly that leaked gameplay from the summer of 2021, a full year later, actually was in the Living Lands region, which definitely gives a bit more credence to this leak overall. Apparently there were plans for mod support, which if there were actually plans for mod support this early on, that's definitely a pretty serious consideration. And of course, if you want something to be a true Skyrim competitor, mod support is going to be integral. There's a big focus on the magic system and actually physics around the magic system and how it would all work. Big bosses were planned for the world, as well as there'd be several factions all throughout. Gods will be relevant in the game. There'll be 2 major cities with some smaller ones throughout. Their plans, at least initially, for a proper kill everything playthrough in that traditional Obsidian style. Although, of course, this is from 2020 and stuff like that in particular is very subject to change as they actually fill out the world and its story. And apparently, at least in 2020, there was a target release date of late 2022 to early 2023, which would actually line up with what we heard from Jez Corden earlier this year. And although this leak is pretty interesting, and we even saw some aspects of it be later confirmed by leaked gameplay and other aspects just backed up by other insiders, we know things from Sponger aren't necessarily completely accurate, as in 2021 he described how he heard that there would be an Avowed gameplay or trailer of some kind at E3 2021. Obviously that never happened, so he was just dead wrong on this part, but perhaps this could tie again into that whole confusion between Microsoft and Obsidian around the Outer Worlds 2 trailer and the Avowed trailer. But really the most concrete and notable leak comes from Jez Corden of Windows Central. He's correctly leaked a ton of stuff in the past, and really the reason this is the most concrete one is he described seeing actual gameplay. It's not like a he said or she said or somebody told him something, but no, he saw this footage of the game with his own eyes and he's he's making conclusions about the game as a result of what he saw. This build of the game was reportedly from 2021, so a year old right now when I'm filming this video, and their article on all of this was posted in late 2021, describing how at that point the core gameplay pillars were implemented and the project at the time was moving through pre-production to a playable alpha state. There's a lot of comparisons to Skyrim. It's described how in Avowed there actually would be multiple class playstyles, but also borrow from Skyrim's two-handed combat system, aka dual wielding. So you could dual wield daggers, you could have a sword in one hand, magic in the other hand, or some special abilities did require two hands free to use that magic, as well as guns like muskets will be in the game, which isn't totally shocking. Pillars of Eternity does have firearms, but you aren't typically using a musket, but rather an arquebus, which is something that predates a musket. And apparently a lot of the spellcasting does have these intricate conjuring rituals with a lot of hand movements, as well as weapon enchanting and arrow enchanting is a big feature in the game. But the game is going to be very loadout based, so to get access to things like kicks or shield bashes, you'll need to be a warrior. Certain spells are only locked behind the caster class, and visually it's more like the Outer Worlds than Skyrim, but definitely with improved lighting and a lighter palette than the Outer Worlds. And again, he does mention it takes place in the Living Lands region of Ayora. Reportedly, Clobreel saw this gameplay also, and described how Avowed is visually more vibrant than Skyrim, and how the spell shown in the teaser is shown exactly the same way in the gameplay. This is actually what it looks like when you cast this. But obviously at this point, we've seen a lot of comparisons of Skyrim, or really the Elder Scrolls overall, and Avowed, with even the head of Xbox weighing in. That was Phil Spencer, where he did say, so yeah, I think Avowed from a core fantasy-based RPG standpoint, there's going to be some distinct differences from what the Elder Scrolls has done traditionally. I think Avowed is going to be fantastic when it comes out. I think we want to give them the time and resources to build the most amazing game they've ever built. So overall, the Avowed situation is a bit of an interesting one. It seems like they truly are building an incredible game here, and some people report that things, even as of last summer, looked pretty good. But at the same time, it definitely seems likely there's been some kind of development trouble. I mean, even the fact that it's been 2 years since reveal and we've heard basically nothing does suggest that something is going on internally. But there definitely is still hope that it could be coming in 2023. We could have an absurdly stacked year with Starfield in the first half and Avowed in the second half, and we could even see a bit of a similar release style from Obsidian with perhaps another trailer at the Game Awards in December, a full reveal at E3 next summer, and then a release in late 2023. That would be pretty epic. But otherwise, that's pretty much everything we know about Avowed right now, all of the recent updates and details. And with that said, hopefully you guys found this one informative, hopefully you enjoyed it, but with that, I hope to see you all next time. Later.